Then it's 3:30. We'll call the April 5th, 2021 Williamson County Budget Committee meeting to order. Before we call the roll, let me read the opening statement. This meeting is being called pursuant to Executive Order 78 from the Governor of Tennessee. As such, all members of this committee must be able to hear me and each other. If you cannot hear me or the other committee members, please notify us immediately. Without objection, the Budget Committee determines that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. This meeting is available to the public on public access TV and is streaming live on YouTube. Okay, so I'm assuming all members of the Budget Committee can hear me and each other. So if you will, use the open meeting to signify that you're present. Thank you. I see Commissioner Herbert is present. All right, all members are present. I don't have minutes for our last meeting, and so we'll proceed next to the transfer. These were sent out this morning. Did everybody have those in front of them? All right, here we go. First one up is from the Williamson County Clerk and Master. This is a budget transfer for various line items. As you can see that for you, I'll entertain a motion for approval of this item. Commissioner Sturgeon, do I have a second? Commissioner Herbert, thank you. All right, this looks pretty self-explanatory. Does anyone have any questions, or does anyone from Ms. Beeler's office have an explanation? I don't think we need one, but if anyone has questions, let's ask. All right, seeing none, ready to vote on this transfer. If you will, press your yes button if you're in favor of this transfer, your no button if you're against. And record the vote, please. And that passes unanimously. Next one up is from Nina. This is transfer to the Health Department budget for $19,934 to classify medical personnel expenses within the Health Department. Motion for approval. Commissioner Herbert, Commissioner Sturgeon to the second. All right. Does anyone have any questions on this one? Nina, do you have anything to add other than what's in front of us?
No, sir. It's just to correct a line item.
All right. Thank you. Seeing no questions, ready to vote? If you're in favor of this transfer, push your yes button. If you're against it, push your no button. I record the vote, please. The transfer passes unanimously. Thank you. Next one up is a request for a surplus vehicle from Animal Control. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Sturgeon, do I have a second? And second by Commissioner Herbert. Again, this seems self-explanatory. Does anyone have any questions? All right, ready to vote? Push your yes if you're in favor, your no button if you're against. Mayor Anderson. There we go. Thank you. All right, record the vote, please. That passes unanimously. Next one up is from the Property Management Department, Mr. Benson. You can see the numbers are in front of you. You put that on the screen. Do I have a motion for approval? And Commissioner Sturgeon, seconded by Commissioner Herbert. All right, does anyone have any questions about this one? This, again, looks self-explanatory, but I think Kevin is on the call. If not, Nina can explain it. Any questions?
This is Kevin. I am available if anyone has a question.
Commissioner Herbert has a question. Go ahead, Commissioner Herbert.
Okay. It looks like money's transferred to from the supervisor director to other. Why would you take money from the supervisor director? Could that be explained a little more?
Yes, ma'am. That's my line. There's just excess in that line this year that's available to shift. We've had, as you know, the continued additional part-time support for assisting security for COVID. So this is more COVID-related transfers. So there's money available. There's $55,000 shortfall to get that line through the remainder of the year. So looking at the three lines, my line, the supervisor, mechanics line, and custodial personnel, between those three lines, there was enough money consolidated extra windfall that we were able to shift to cover the lack of money that we had for the end of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any other questions? Thank you, Commissioner Herbert. That was a good question. If not, ready to vote? If you're in favor of this transfer, push your yes button. If you're against, your no button. Record the vote, please. And this passes unanimously. Next one up is from the risk management. You'll see this from Mr. Franklin. Looks like a request of $40,000. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Herbert, second, please. There we go. Thank you, Commissioner Sturgeon. All right. Mr. Franklin, you want to tell us quickly about this? Wayne?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is just realigning some of our money to cover where we had some additional premium expense for the year, just trying to get our numbers out of a negative balance.
All right, thank you. Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, ready to vote? All those in favor of this transfer, push your yes button. If you're against, push your no button. Record the vote, please. That passes unanimously. Next up is also from Mr. Franklin. Looks like $18,000 transfer request. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Herbert, do I have a second? Mr. Sturgeon, thank you. All right. Mr. Franklin, you want to give us a quick update on this one?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, it's the same thing, just
Okay.
covering where we've had increase in premium cost, just to balance the accounts.
Okay, so we're just rolling this one through. All right, anyone have any questions? All right, if you're ready to vote, please push your yes button if you're in favor, your no button if you're against. Record the vote, please. This transfer passes unanimously. All right, next one up is with the Finance Department for $60. Do I have a motion for approval? Mr. Herbert, do I have a second? Commissioner Sturgeon, thank you. I think this one looks self-explanatory. Does anyone have any questions? Nope. Ready to vote? All those in favor, push your yes button. If you're against, push your no button. Record the vote, please. And that passes unanimously. Now, that's all the transfers I had, so I'm ready to move on to the main items. What I thought we would do here, since this group has done this before from last year, is that I would read the heading. And then if it's something that is very minor and self-explanatory, we can go through the process like we did the transfers. If it's a larger one, like this first one up, we can get an explanation from the department head and or from Ms. Graham. Do you want to have any objection to that process? And we'll move through these items. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the 2021-2022 budget process. All right, first one up is the highway fund. You'll see that's 131 highway fund, section 61,000. As we go through these, each of these categories, I'll need a motion to put it on the floor, just like we just did with the transfers. So for the highway fund, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Thank you, Commissioner Herbert, and a second. Thank you, Commissioner Sturgeon. All right. Is someone from Highways or Ms. Graham going to explain this briefly?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
We here, Greg, but it's Greg and myself are here.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hood. Anyone in the Budget Committee have a question regarding the budget submitted by the Highway Department? Commissioner Sturgeon.
I was just looking at, I think, well, it's not page, there's no, oh, page 7. And it says that there was an overall 10.6% increase in workman's comp claims, or a 10% increase. Any explanation on why those are going up?
Mr. Chairman, this is Rogers. On all of the, if I could, I'll cut in on Eddie. All of our insurance last year, Commissioner, when we froze everything, we froze the increases in our insurance. That included paying the claims and paying the excess premium. That's what you're transferring that we had from last year. We also have been told by our carriers and our property casualty, our workers' compensation, that if you will notice when we go through all of our budget packages, you'll see about a 10% to 11% increase. Part of that was because we didn't do anything last year, and then part of it is this year. So you should see that consistently throughout the budget on all of our insurance business, Commissioner. That help?
Ah, yeah, that does help. Thank you.
All right.
Also, I had one more question.
Okay,
On the
go ahead.
on the last page, total site development, what is total site development for the highway department, and why would it go up 50%?
That is for 4 additional traffic signals that we now have throughout the county.
So traffic signal, like putting in new traffic signals or maintaining them, or?
Maintaining red lights. One of them is a Tri-U, the 2 on Wilson Pike, and the 1 on Southall Road. So that's the 4 additional traffic signals that we will maintain now.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Eddie.
Sure.
Okay. Any other questions on the highway fund budget? If not, are you ready to vote for the highway fund budget? If so,
Mr. Chairman, this is.
yes, go ahead, Mr.
Rogers.
Mayor.
The Highway Commission reviewed this in the month of March, and they approved it unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not seeing any more questions. I think we're ready to vote. If you're in favor of approving the highway fund budget, please signify by pushing your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button.
I have a question, Paul. Do you not need to put the amount in before we approve it? Do you need to see the full amount of it? Or can you just say, do we approve it?
Thank you. Thank you. That's a good point. So the motion is for $13,539,162. Thank you, Commissioner Herbert. You are correct.
Yeah, 13. Yeah.
Thank you. We recorded the vote. We get rusty every once in a while, don't we, Commissioner Herbert? And this passes unanimously. All right, next one up is, yes. Somebody have a question? Okay. Next one up is for the county commission. This is 51,100, and that is in the amount of $1,413,865. Do I have a motion for approval? Thank you, Commissioner Herbert. Do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Sturgeon. All right. This one, if anyone has any questions, I think Ms. Graham can address any questions on this one. Nina, is there anything out of the ordinary that you see on that one?
No, sir, there was one increase in the tax relief program line item of $50,000, and that's due to increased participation.
All right, thank you.
So that was the only increase in this department.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Paul, this is Commissioner Sturgeon.
Go ahead.
You said the number was 1.5 million something, and I'm just not sure I'm looking at the right spot because I see 1.413865.
That's correct. $1,413,865.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, this is
Yes.
Rogers again. So I tried this year before last. I'll bring it up again. I'll make the motion, but in the county commission line that you all are paid in, currently our chair makes $550, and you as each member make $500 each month for your service. We have not raised that in many, many years. I would not want to raise it in the current year of 21-22, but I would like some dialogue. I know there's some that will not vote for it, and there's some that will, but I am proposing that in the year 22, 23, that we raise that $100. It's been some time since we've raised that, and many of you give a lot of time and energy, and it's still one of the lowest fees around. So that would be my, go ahead and get your comments on it. I know we're voting on this year, but I know next year what the answer is going to be because it'll be in an election year. And I'm just proposing that out in the future, 23, that we raise it $100 per board member. And so that next year that Nina and all of them can get that into planning. That's my comment.
Is that for a discussion or is that a motion, Mayor?
I'd like to have some discussion.
Okay.
Because I know what next year, I've been around the block long enough, and nobody's going to vote themselves a pay raise in the year they're going to run for election. That's the bottom line. And I tried this a couple of years ago. Every 4 years I bring it up, and it's I think you all are being underpaid for what you're giving to our community, and we need good men and women. There are others that don't always feel that way, and I get that. But I'm bringing it up for discussion, and if I can get a second, I'd put it up there on the form of a motion for 22, 23, so that we can put that in next year.
Okay, well,
For the sake of discussion, let's listen to that. Commissioner Sturgeon?
yeah, I would second that motion. I mean, we're kind of getting to the point where after my medical benefits are taken care of, there's really nothing left. And it would be nice to have a little change to at least pay for the gas that I put in my car to get to meetings, especially with our new gas prices these days. So I don't think $100 would be excessive. I wouldn't vote for a lot more than that, but I think that would be helpful.
I think that's a good point. Our out-of-pocket expenses are going up. Anyone else have any questions or comments? I want to be clear, what the mayor's asking is just for us to discuss this, to bring this up.
Well,
not
Mr.
take
Chairman,
effect
if
till
I
next
could
year.
interrupt you.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion
Okay.
to increase the pay $100 per month beginning in July 1st, 2022, not this year,
Right.
2022. And therefore, next year that would be put in, and somebody would have to make a motion to take it out. That would be how it would be set up. But it's time for y'all to have a pay raise.
And Commissioner Sturgeon, do you still second that?
Yes, I do.
All right, I do have a question from, so we have a motion and a second. The discussion on that one, I want to ask legal counsel, because I'm not clear about this. Can we vote ourselves a pay raise in our current term, since our term would go through August 31st, 2022?
Yeah, I'd have to take a look at that. I believe that you may have to start it with September of 22, which would be the new term, I believe. So I think
if I can interrupt Jeff, Paul, that was what I meant, to start it on 9/1/22. That's after the election. It's all done. And everybody comes in.
Okay, thank you. I think that was, I think that's correct. So the mayor has amended his motion. Commissioner Sturgeon, do you concur?
I concur.
All right, further discussion on this amendment?
Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner
Okay.
Little.
Just as added input, originally when I was first elected in 2006, it was 350. When I was sworn in on September 1, that's when it went to 500. So it was in 2006 that this was last changed, and it went from 350 to 500.
Long time ago. Thank you, Commissioner Little, for that history. That helps. Been a long time. Any other comments on this amendment? Ready to vote? All those in favor of this proposal raising the commissioner's compensation at September 1st, 2022 by $100 per month, please signify by saying yes, and I can't vote. Jamie, what's happening? You'll bear with me. I'll log out and log back in.
While the chairman's doing that, legal counsel, since this is a proposed budget, we are
Yes.
not voting on the item as amended, correct? It's just an amendment to the budget. It's not like a resolution.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to say that again.
So if the amendment that is proposed passes, there is no voting on it as amended as you would a resolution. It's just would be the amendment passes, amendment to the budget.
This is not an attachment to your budget resolution because it's not affecting this year's fiscal budget. So it is a recommendation of the committee to change the budget for 2022-23, but it would not be attached to this resolution as an amendment to this year's budget. You are correct.
Okay, we still can record the vote as we're going through. Is that correct, Jeff? All right. So then everyone's voted. Please record the vote, please. And that resolution passes unanimously. Thanks, everyone. That's a good discussion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And to be
All right.
clear, it is not for
Sure.
this budget year that we're working on now. It's not for FY 21-22. It's for notation that I will add in for the following year. Okay.
All right, beginning September 1st, 2022, if passed.
Yes.
All right. Now then, back to our, we have not approved the county commission budget, the $1,413,865. Is there any further discussion on that budget? If not, are we ready to vote? And we'll get the voting loaded up. Unless mine is messed up.
Be patient, working on it.
Okay, good. All right, if you're in favor, press your yes button. If you're against, your no button. And it looks like everyone's voted. Record the vote, please. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Next one up is the general fund, the boards and committees and members fees. This is item for $7,700. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Herbert is second by Commissioner Sturgeon. All right, this is County Board of Equalization, the 7,700. Does anyone have any questions on this one? No increases, so it's the same. All right, I think we can vote on this one. If you're ready to vote, press your yes button. If you're against, press your no button. Record the vote, please. And that passes unanimously. So next one up is the beer board of $2,700, line item 51-220. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Herbert, thank you. Second by Commissioner Sturgeon. Does anyone have any questions here? Zero increases. Ready to vote? If you're ready to vote, if you're in favor, press your yes button. If you're against, your no button. Record the vote, please. Pass unanimously. All right. Next one up is our solid waste board. Line item 51240 for $3,300. I have a motion for approval. Commissioner Herbert, Commissioner Sturgeon makes the second. Thank you. Zero increases here. Does anyone have a question? If not, ready to vote? All right. If you're in favor, press your yes button. If you're against, your no button. And record the vote, please. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, the next one up is the County Mayor's Office, 51300, in the amount of $958,616. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Herbert, do I have a second? Commissioner Sturgeon, thank you. Does anyone have any questions on this line item, 3.7% increase?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Rogers. If you'll turn to the I'm not going to change the bottom line number of 958,616, but if you will look about halfway down on the back page, you'll see 537,100. That's lobbying services. Many of you know that we hire a lobbyist by the name of Will Donami. Will lives in our county. He's done a great job for us, particularly over the last couple of years, really saved us his fee. But I need to get him more into the market of what lobbyists make. And we've got currently 50,000 in there. I want to transfer and out of line item, and I'm sorry I didn't do this ahead of time, but under the number right under it, under other contracted services, 539,900, I need to transfer $15,000 out of that and put it into lobbying service. I don't want to change the bottom number. This will get him more to market rate, to what lobbyists on the Hill make. And if you have any questions about what Will has done for us during this year or in the last couple of years, I can tell you he's really been good.
If I could, I'd jump in on the mayor's comment there, and it has been, he has done a phenomenal job for the county, not only in helping us with the positions that the county takes on issues, but in communication of issues that might affect the county to the mayor and to me so that we can provide that input. Just a very, very good job. I wanted to second the mayor's comments.
So let me get Jamie to correct that, not 10,000, 15,000, Jamie. Or
Thank you,
Diane,
Mayor.
whoever's typing that in.
That's how I wanted to make sure. That's 15,000. There we go. Thank you. All right. We have an amendment before us from the mayor's request to move these line items. Everyone understand what the amendment is? And if so, that's a motion from the mayor. Do I have a second? And I have a second from Commissioner Herbert. Any discussion? Commissioner Sturgeon.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what is the going rate for lobbyists? And is this a full-time job, or is this, is not about hours, or, how does that work with lobbyists?
So the lobbyist is a full-time job, Commissioner, year-round. Of course, his main emphasis is when the House and the Senate's on the Hill, keeping us abreast of the many changes in the bill and the actions that are occurring. And the days are, some days are 8 hours, some days are 12 and 14 hours. The going rate up on the Hill varies on the degree of what the individual or the law firm handles. The average going rate will be $75,000 to $100,000, depending on the size of the city or the county. And I just know we've been getting for a bargain, and I just think you have to pay people what they're worth, and he's worth every penny of what we put into it. He also represents not just the county; he also represents 911. He represents the Brad Coleman's area, and he just does so much for us, and I'm proud of what he's doing.
Is lobbying all year long, or is it only when it's in session?
No, it's all year. I mean, he'll be working on issues, say, in the latter part of the fall, getting ready for the session when it comes to fruition. Many of the bills are actually helped to be written by the lobbyist, whatever you're talking about, throughout the year, so that when it gets to either the House or the Senate, many of the committee members take their recommendations and help them see that through and shepherd through.
Great.
But it's full-time work.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. On the amendment, any other questions? Okay, we ready to vote? You know, we're voting for, we're changing the lobbyist fee to 65,000 by reducing the other contracted services by 15,000 to 185,000. So looks like some folks are already voting. Yes. Mayor Anderson, if you're against this, vote no. And record the vote, please. Okay, everyone's in favor of the amendment. Now coming back to the main budget, the number 958,616 has not changed. Is there any other discussion on this budget for County Mayor's Office? Seeing none, ready to vote? All in favor of the mayor's budget signify by pressing your yes button. If you're against, your no button. All right, votes are like. Please record the vote. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Next one up is Human Resources 51310, and that has a total of 959,000. Whoops, sorry, I jumped ahead of you. My bad. Total of $349,360. Do I have a motion for approval? Thank you, Commissioner Herbert. Do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Sturgeon. Mr. Weber, I guess you were excited when I read the wrong number. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Weber from HR? All right, seeing none, we ready to vote on Human Resources 349,360? If so, push your yes button if you're in favor, your no button if you're against. All right, record the vote, please. That passed unanimously. Next one up is County Attorney, line 51400. This is $959,500. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Commissioner Herbert, thank you. A second? And Commissioner Sturgeon seconds that. All right, we have the attorney here. Does anyone have any questions from Ms. Graham or Mr. Mosley or anyone else on this item?
Mr. Chair, we do need to read into the minutes the hourly rates.
All right, thank you. I will do that now. This hourly rate is for, read all the items in your description, Nina. Read that description column.
I think it's just for the hourly rates.
All right. This is for legal services at the rate of $205 per hour for partners, $185 per hour for associates, law clerk at $60 per hour.
And that is both for our firm and for Christie Ransom.
Thank you. Commissioner Sturgeon has a question. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, just a really small question. What does the C mean in the column that says request type?
That's just something within our software, and it's a continued expense.
Oh, okay, thanks, Nina.
You're welcome.
All right, anyone else have any questions?
I don't have a question,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman. This
Yes.
is Rogers again, but I think it's appropriate at this time that all of you, I think you know this, the amount of work, the amount that Berger Mosley, particularly Jeff and Lisa, have done during this pandemic in answering so many thousands of emails and questions and keeping us in the row, and I greatly appreciate that. And to Christie, if she's on here, I say thank you for shepherding us through the comprehensive plan, the new growth plan we're getting ready to. We are very fortunate here in our county to have two law firms that not only live here, but they love our county and they do what's best for not only you and defending our citizens and the things they do. It's just a footnote. We are so blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Anderson. Anyone have any questions before we vote? We ready to vote on legal services? All right. We'll load the vote. There we go. If you're in favor, vote yes. If you're against, vote no. All right, record the vote, please. And that passes unanimously. All right. Next one up is the Election Commission, 51500, and that is for $726,406. Do I have a motion for approval? Mr. Herbert, thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Sturgeon. All right, I think I saw Chad Gray is on the line. If you have any questions for him or Ms. Graham, does anyone have any questions? All right. Chad, unless you would have some comment, we will go ahead to the vote on this. So I have no questions from the Budget Committee.
Mr. Chairman and members, no comment from me, just thank you very much.
Thank you, Chad. All right, if we're ready to vote, this is for the Election Commission budget, $726,406. Vote yes if you're in favor, vote no if you oppose. And right that way. There we go. Record the vote, please. That passed unanimously. I do want to note, I'm not sure if the others have a problem. Mine is timing out here, so there may be a delay in my voting, and some of you may have the same thing, so just let us know if that happens. Next one up is the general fund for the Register of Deeds. This is line 51600, and that amount is $720,162. Do I have a motion for approval? Thank you, Commissioner Herbert. Do I have a second? Thank you, Commissioner Sturgeon. Do we have any questions on the Register of Deeds budget, $720,162? Commissioner Sturgeon.
Yeah, am I reading this correctly? Did our longevity pay go down by $6,000?
Could be, Nina, do you or Mr. Weber have an answer on that one?
It went down by 2,000.
This is Sherry Anderson. I lost a couple of employees that worked here for several years. So that hiring new ones, they would not be getting the longevity. So that's why my longevity has dropped a lot.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions on the Register of Deeds budget? Ready to vote? All those in favor of the Register of Deeds budget, push your yes button. If you're against, your no button. Record the vote, please. And that passed unanimously. Nina, I've got a question. In the budget book, I've got a reserve piece of paper, and I'm not sure what that's for. Is that just for informational purposes, or do you know what this 166,000?
Yes, sir. Each year, Ms. Anderson brings forward a resolution allocating some of her $2 fee money, and we usually put that in during budget prep time, but we will bring a separate resolution to you in July. But that just lets you know that she is supplementing her budget with some of the $2 fee money. And this year she was actually able to cover a bit more in her printing and stationery and forms. You'll see that line went down by $10,000. So she is able to supplement her budget with that $2 fee.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So this is for information only. All right. Going on, next one is the Planning and Zoning Community Development 51710, and that is in the amount of $3,136,916. Commissioner Sturgeon for the motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Herbert, thank you. And I'm sure we have Mr. Horn or Mr. Madison on the call. Somebody has a question. Commissioner Sturgeon?
Yeah, I'm just curious if somebody could explain, what's the difference between planning and zoning and just planning, which is the next line, is the next budget?
If I would, planning, community development is referred to in the budget line item as planning and zoning, whereas planning is planning.
We do have.
What kind of planning?
State chart of accounts on our numbering system. So that is why it's headed in that way.
So are they both under Mike Madison?
No, ma'am. They're all under me. Planning and zoning the planning department is a department under community development or planning and zoning, along with engineering, building codes, codes compliance, and sewage disposal management.
So when you say planning is just planning, who are we talking about?
That is Mike Madison's department. But Mike,
Okay. I'm just confused. It just sounds redundant, and I can't in my mind figure out what is what.
On this one, I think to help you, what I heard Nina say was under the state chart of accounts, the 51,710 is community development. But in our terminology, we use this for the planning and zoning department as well as engineering, and Mike and Joe are working in that department. So that group works together, as you know. Does that help you any? Their real work is planning and zoning.
So planning and zoning and planning both fall under Mr. Horn as community development.
Is that correct, Joe?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, and we're doing this because of the way the state numbers things.
According to Nina, that's right. They put this under community development.
Gotcha.
I can't explain it either, Commissioner Sturgeon. It seems like it ought to be planning and zoning to me, but I didn't make the chart of accounts.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, ready to vote on the planning and zoning 51,710. If you're in favor, push your yes button. If you're against, your no button. Record the vote, please. And that passed unanimously. All right, our next one up is planning by itself. This is line item 51,720 for $58,355. I'll have a motion for approval, please. Commissioner Herbert, thank you. And Commissioner Sturgeon, second. Do we have any questions on this line item, 51,720? Still comes under Joe and Mike. All right, seeing none, ready to vote on 51,720. If you're in favor, push your yes button. If you're opposed, push your no button. Record the vote, please. That passed unanimously. All right, our next one up is the Building 51730. This is an amount of $36,125. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Sturgeon, Commissioner Herbert for the second. Anyone have any questions on this budget request? I heard someone. Was that a question or? Okay. Seeing none. Those in favor of, okay, we got some overfeed here, so if we can have you mute if you're not commenting, please. So does anyone on the budget committee have a question? Does any other commissioner on the call have a question? All right, thank you. So if you're in favor of the 51,730 budget, please push your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. That passes unanimously. All right. Next one up is the engineering department, 51740, and that is in the amount of $47,997. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Commissioner Herbert, do I have a second, please? Commissioner Sturgeon, thank you. Do we have any questions on this line item? Let me note for the department heads, staff members that are on the call this afternoon, if you have any comments or anything you want to highlight, please jump in. I'm deferring to the members of the budget committee to ask questions, but I will gladly love to hear if there's anything going on that you would like to report or discuss. So just wanted to put that in there. So we're at 51,740. I see no questions. Ready to vote. If you're in favor, press your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. 51,740 engineering passes unanimously. Next one up is 51,750 codes compliance in the amount of $65,381. Do I have a motion for approval, please? Mr. Herbert, do I have a second? Mr. Sturgeon, thank you. Does anyone have any questions on this budget line item, codes and compliance? All right, ready to vote. All in favor of 51,750 codes compliance, push your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. And that passes unanimously. Next one up is the GIS funds, 51760. And that is, let's see if I can find the amount of $3,161,877. I have a motion for approval. Mr. Herbert, do I have a second? Mr. Sturgis, thank you. Does anyone have any questions on this line item for geographical information systems? Because that's a larger number than usual, Mr. Horn or Mr. Madison, somebody just give us a quick overview of what you're doing in this area.
This is David Thomas.
Thank you,
Mr.
David.
Chairman. And this is what our department was originally called in the budget. This is IT.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, David. All right. Does anyone have any questions of David? This is on the IT, which makes a lot of sense rather than information systems. Thank you, David. Seeing none, are you ready to vote? If you're in favor of the IT budget, 51,760, push your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. And that passes unanimously. Next one up is 51,800, the county buildings line item. And that is in the amount of $4,269,504. $4,269,504. Motion by Commissioner Herbert. Do I have a second? Commissioner Sturgeon. All right, another, just a quick overview of this. I believe will this be under Mr. Benson's? Somebody just a quick summary of this one?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, so that's Kevin. Kevin, you got a quick summary on your building budget, or does everything look good to you? I don't see any questions from the commission.
Pending any questions, I mean, there's a varied amount of questions that could be asked, but it all makes very good sense this year, and we minimize as much as we could with everything that's going on.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Sturgeon, you have a question? I lose Commissioner. There we go.
Page 1 on the night watchman is why did we need more one night watchman? I can't, if we talked about this in a resolution, I can't remember.
Yes, ma'am. To expand on that, basically we had to pull full-time employees out of part-time, and we've created so many hours securing the building and the locations we had to secure to make sure that we're bringing people into the facility properly and throughout the facility, maintaining what we need to for the coronavirus pandemic. We had to hire 2 full-time on top of the 1 full-time. So there's where you see that high percentage of increase. We only had 1 full-time night watchman and went to 3. And there's the huge increase that you see on percentage-wise.
Okay, so it cost us in permanent employees, and it also looks like it went up for contract, right? On page 2?
That's another, yes, ma'am. That's another line. Private contracts continues to go up every year. This year we did not increase that much, but with new facilities that come online, all your security systems and your monitoring systems, fire hoods, inspections, state inspections requirements, all those things add up, and that's what goes under this line for private contracts, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do you have another question, Commissioner Sturgeon? Okay.
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
All right. We're voting on county buildings budget, 51800. Please vote yes if you're in favor, no if you're against. And record the vote, please. County buildings, 51800 passes unanimously. Next one up is 51810, Williamson County TV. And that budget is $244,400. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Sturgeon, second by Mr. Herbert. I'm not going to ask Creed to talk unless anyone has a question. Does anyone have a question about this budget? All right. Are you ready to vote on 51-810? If so, push your yes button if you're in favor, your no button if you're against. And record the vote, please. And 51-810 passes unanimously. All right, next up is the archives budget, 51910. And that budget is in the amount of $318,507. I have a motion by Commissioner Sturgeon. Do I have a second? Commissioner Herbert, thank you. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, ready to vote on the archives budget, 51-910. If you're in favor, push your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. And 51-910 archives passes unanimously. Next one up is 51-920 risk management in the amount of $267,721. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Herbert, and a second. Thank you, Commissioner Sturgeon. Does anyone have any questions of risk management today? Seeing none. If you're in favor of 51-920 risk management, please press your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. 51-920 risk management passes unanimously. Next one up is the benefits department, 51-930. And that is in the amount of $403,128. Do I have a motion for approval? Oops, getting ahead of myself. Have we locked up? There we go. Thank you, Commissioner Herbert. Whoops. Not ready to vote yet. I need a motion, and there we go. Motion by Commissioner Herbert, second by Commissioner Sturgeon. Thank you. Do we have any questions on risk management or administration of the budget here? Or is it operating budget of the benefits department? There we go. $403,128. Seeing no questions, ready to vote. All those in favor, push your yes button. If you're against, push your no button. Record the vote, please. 51-930 benefits department passes unanimously. Next one up is 52-100, the finance and accounting office, in the amount of $1,284,931. Commissioner Sturgeon makes the motion. Do I have a second by Commissioner Herbert? Do we have any questions of Ms. Graham on this line item? Seeing none, ready to vote. If you're in favor of the finance budget, press your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. And 52-100 accounting passes unanimously. Next one up is 52-300, the property assessor's budget. And that is in the amount of $2,082,477. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Sturgeon, and a second. Commissioner Herbert. Anyone have any questions? I did see Mr. Coleman on board. Commissioner Herbert, go ahead.
Takes me a minute. Unmute. Yeah, I have a question about the overtime. It's 46,000. I know it was more last year because of the reappraisals. But would they need that much overtime this year since the when will the reappraisals be finished up?
Hello, Commissioner. Yeah, good question. We have put in quite a bit of overtime just in preparing for the reappraisal, but as we prepare to send out notices in May, we will continue to have quite a bit of appeal volume and phone calls. So it's just hard to know exactly how much that'll be, but that's part of what that represents.
Okay, so you could use some of it, but not all of it, correct?
Correct.
According to how the reappraisals go up.
Okay, anything else, Commissioner Herbert?
Typically, whatever pay increases that we approve for a budget year, we do add that to the overtime lines. So that's just a common practice to increase those lines.
Yeah, I saw that, but it was so much more than it was previous year.
Mhm.
And it was the reappraisal, and I wasn't sure. Brad, have y'all finished the reappraisals completely?
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nina, but part of that is where we had the separate reappraisal budget, if you will. So we had budgeted that in. So that's why the big difference is in there. And then the 6% on top just from the increases. To answer your second question, we are finishing the closing line of being able to turn over that reappraisal where we will make that available for everyone to look at. So our goal as of today is to mail out notices the first week of May. We have submitted our plan and begun the finalization process with the state to get that approved. So you're going to hear quite a bit in the next few weeks about that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we ready for the phone calls, right?
Yes, ma'am. You can come join us.
Yeah, I started to say y'all and us both will get phone calls, but
Right.
worse than ours.
Okay. Commissioner Sturgeon, you had a question for Mr. Coleman?
Yeah. Hi, Brad. See, I'm just wanting to understand the increase in the data processing services and also the one where it says the annual increase due to CAMA software on the next page. Is this something that happens every 4 years or is this something new?
Yeah, the CAMA portion will go up every year. It's based on parcel count. And so you'll see a small increase on that each and every year. As far as the data processing, you may remember approving in the capital budget software called Just Appraised, which basically takes the information from the registrar's office each night and automates the process of dropping that information into our software, eliminating just a lot of man hours as far as data entry on our end. And so that's why you see another big increase year over year, is that's a new software that we've added in the data processing field.
So is this a one-time thing? We'll pay for it once and then we have it, or do you have to pay every year for it?
Yeah, this is ongoing.
How many hours did we save?
You're gonna save several positions actually. So we've maintained a couple of vacant positions, and I think this will allow us to not have to hire for some of those moving forward.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Brad. Anyone else have any questions on the property assessor's budget 52300? Are you ready to vote? If you're in favor of 52300, push your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next one up is the County Trustee's Office, 52400, in the amount of $735,116. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Herbert?
Mr. Chairman, this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
Nina.
Yes.
I had a keying error within this budget. It was on the overtime line item.
Okay.
The total for the overtime line should be $6,842, which would bring their grand total of the budget for that department to $740,368.
All right, would you repeat that line item number? Is that 518,700 is the line
Yes, sir.
item? And it's how much? 6,000 and what?
$6,842.
Okay, now question to Mr. Mosley, is this, do we need to amend this or is this a correction?
That would be an amendment.
Okay, thank you. All right, you see, Ms. Nina's told you that we have a correction to line item 518,700, which should be $6,842. It changes the total budget to $740,368. I'll entertain that as an amendment. Commissioner Herbert has a question.
Well, what I was going to do is do the amendment. Motion to do the amendment. Is that what I need to?
that you're amending the budget to $740,368 for this line item. Is that correct, Judy? Is that what you're trying to do? I've lost you. I see. That's a positive. Okay. All right. So now do I have?
Oh, you can't hear. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here talking. And you know, I looked at this and I thought, boy, their overtime's not much. I was shocked. Now I know it wasn't right.
All right, you see that on your screen, the overtime line. The amendment is to increase the total budget to $740,368. Commissioner Herbert made the motion. Do I have a second? Commissioner Sturgeon makes the second. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, we're going to vote on the amendment. If you're in favor of the amendment, push your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Commissioner Sturgeon, thank you. Record the vote, please. Okay, the amendment passes. Now the trustees' budget amended to $740,368 is before us. Does anyone have any questions on the amended budget? If not, ready to vote. If you're in favor of the trustees' budget as amended, push your yes button. If you're opposed, no button when it comes up. Just a second.
Mr. Chairman, I don't
Yes,
think
ma'am.
we need to have a separate motion because that was part of the previous motion.
No, right, we're going to vote on it. I'm asking, calling for the vote.
Okay.
We're ready to vote on the amended version. There we go. Thank you. If you're in favor, you're yes, and everybody's voted. Thank you very much. Record the vote, please. And the county trustee as amended is approved unanimously. Next one up is the county clerk's office, 52500 in the amount of $1,293,847. Do I have a motion for approval? Commissioner Sturgeon, thank you. Do I have a second? Commissioner Herbert, thank you very much. Do we have any questions? I know Mr. Whidbey is on the call. If anyone has any questions. I will note this extra sheet, Ms. Graham, is just for our information. We'll see that transfer coming later.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sturgeon.
Yeah, am I seeing that right? Our postage went up almost 50%, well, 45%? Why?
Yes.
Why would that
Jeff,
happen this year?
Jeff, can you answer that?
Is this another COVID-related expense?
Well, not really. We always kind of come up short in our budgeting, how it's kind of always been. So we come back and ask the commission for more postage later in the year usually. So we're going ahead. I spoke with Nina, and we were trying to just go ahead and maybe eliminate that at the beginning. But just to show the amount of postage, I mean, it did increase some this year, but just from July 1st until March 31st, we've collected $148,000 worth of postage. So, I mean, we're taking in quite a bit of postage. We always have a shortfall, and we're just trying to maybe eliminate having to come back and ask for more from the commission at the end of the year.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Jeff.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Any other questions on the county clerk's budget? If not, if you're in favor of the county clerk's budget, sounds like we're ready to vote. 52,500. If you're in favor, push your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. And the county clerk's passes unanimously. Thank you. Next up, we have the other finance, the 52,900 for $522,000 even. I have a motion for approval. Commissioner Herbert, and a second. Commissioner Sturgeon, thank you. Do you have any questions? This looks like it's self-explanatory, but Ms. Graham can probably answer any questions you have. All right, seeing none. If you're in favor of 52,900 other finance purchasing costs, please push your yes button. If you're opposed, your no button. Record the vote, please. 52,900 other finance is approved. That's all we have on our budget this afternoon. I will ask the mayor if he has any comments before we adjourn. Mr. Mayor, anything else for the good of the cause today?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, I should report this. It came out of Joe's area, Joe Horn's area. As you know, during the COVID year, we've been talking about record number of growth that we've been having in the unincorporated area as well as the incorporated areas. So this morning they presented me with the residential building permits for the month of March. Residential building permits for the month of March in the unincorporated area only. It was the single largest month that we've ever had for any month, not just March, since 1989. We had 103 building permits pulled and paid for 1 month. Now, to give you an idea, last March in 2020, we had 46. In 2019, we had 37. 2018, 40. So the month of March has traditionally been not a month that we see a lot of building permits. What does this tell us? Number one, that the efforts that you put in place for the comprehensive zoning and planning for the planning department, 5 acres, has certainly not slowed down anybody moving to Williamson County and the unincorporated area. It also tells us that there are people moving in here from all over the United States and our own state trying to find a way to get into our county and paying those fees that we've got, the building permits and et cetera. So just to kind of give you an idea of what codes, Joe's area, planning, septic, when you have a doubling of the permits from 1 month to the next, and we're already through the first 90 days, we're at 217 permits in the unincorporated area. So at this pace that we're going, you'll have to go back 20 or 22 years unless something happens. It is just unbelievable what's happening, and there's no explanation for it other than people are trying to move here, and they certainly are pulling the permits. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have a good product. I have a note here from Diane that we have something else to vote on. Diane, can you follow up on that, please? Is Diane still on the call?
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Yes.
When the committee met in February and discussed budget guidelines for the current fiscal year,
Yes.
there was no discussion and/or action taking about new funding requests from various nonprofit agencies. And we have received in our office 2 or 3 of those. I just would like for the committee to either give our office some direction about whether or not you want to hear those when later on in the budget review process, or if you want to take action as has been taken in prior years, not to consider any new funding request. It's you all's call. We just needed a little direction here.
Thank you, Diane. That's a good point. Do the members of the committee understand this is years ago, we set it up, we were not going to take any new requests without commission approval. And what she's saying is we have some new requests in addition to those standing requests. And I can't recall, I might have seen those. Has the full committee seen those requests yet, Diane?
No, sir, they would not come up before you until the latter part of this month. But we didn't want to keep these nonprofit agencies hanging out there, while they're trying to do their budget preparation, and give them any false hopes should you all not, or should you vote to not hear any new funding requests this year. I think we have it down for probably either April 20th or May the 3rd before you adopt a consolidated budget on the 13th.
Okay, I think you're bringing that up. Members of the Budget Committee, I want to make sure you understand what she's saying. So if you've got some questions, she's asking us for guidance. If we want to leave the dollar amount the same, we can vote on that today, and then that gives the staff the authority to go back to those new agencies requesting funding to tell them no. If you want to entertain that, you can do that at a subsequent meeting, not today. So what's the pleasure? Love to hear the discussion. Commissioner Herbert.
Oh, we hear the nonprofits on April 13th. Could we not just hear it and then make a decision then? That's next week.
Right, we could do that. I think Diane wants to make sure we understand what we're doing here, and I appreciate that. But you're right, we could hear them next week and then vote on them individually, whether to hear it or not. Any other comments from the members of the committee? I think in that case, it's, I believe Commissioner Herbert is correct. We vote on that next week. Diane, let's include that in our discussion, our meeting on April 13th.
Well, actually, the nonprofits are on your calendar for April the 19th. Under miscellaneous 58,900, that's where we have the various nonprofits. There are some that have individual department numbers based on the state chart of accounts that are on the 13th, but most of the nonprofits we hear on the 19th.
Right, I see that now. Commissioner Sturgeon.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Well, I understand that we're talking about it on the 19th, but I think I'd like to hear about it next week anyway, because I might be out of town on the 19th and unavailable.
Okay, we can, I was going to remind you, we're meeting tomorrow at 3:30, and then we have a subsequent meeting. So, if you would like, I believe, or we have the April 12th meeting as well. So we'll have opportunities. Again, discussion. I need for us to discuss this tomorrow under other business after we finish our print agenda. Would that be correct?
Not to review.
So what we could do tomorrow is send out I don't remember if it's 2 or 3 new funding requests from nonprofit agencies that have not yet received funding from the county. We can send those out to you all tomorrow morning, and then you can give us some direction tomorrow afternoon at the 3:30 meeting.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Any objection from the members of the committee?
This is, I think that's a good idea.
Right, so she's going to send those out. Now, yeah, we have the option. Remember, the rule has been in place for the past few years is we have $1 amount, and that's all we fund. So if we look at these and pass them forward, that would mean maybe reducing the funding of other agencies or increasing the line item. So be thinking about that as we come up to this tomorrow. Commissioner Sturgeon, did you have another question? Okay. All right. Thank you, Diane, for bringing that up. Mayor, that was some, I guess, good news. I'm kind of mixed. I mean, it's good that people want to be here, but 200 and some odd new buildings in the unincorporated area. As I noted just now, I want to remind everyone to check your calendar. We will meet again at 3:30 tomorrow. You have that agenda before you, and then after our budget portion, we will have another joint meeting with the Education Committee to hear the Education Committee budget, which was included in your budget book. So if you have a chance to look at that, if you haven't already, please do so. Do we have any other business for today? Okay. Thank you very much for helping us. We all got the 2021-2022 budget process started. Without objection, we can adjourn until tomorrow at 3:30. Any objection?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. We're good. Bye-bye, everyone.